You live now.
Hey, hello, hello. You live. Oh,
I don't know background.
Fli-City, now make some noise. Random corners, pushing back, looking back, hand ups, and see the past. Fli-City, got city text, money bags, ski masks, crime races, speak God, city giving rich vibes. Beat knocks, we'll speak a box, we'll speak a lot, just move around. Water dirty, streets dirty, we're clean, we're okay, we cool, all survivors, kings, riding trees, I'm king, the trouble seems like this to me. Troubles led to victories, now picture me. 6 months out, I'm on my feet. On the business, talks with Patty, on the business, on the city, leave all the holy city. Minus since we bless the city, get hard, chill, hustlers, bonus. All I did is so torches, push lane, get straight, man, we straighten out, they carry down, west side, south side, east side, west side, east side, switch left side, city side, west side, north side, south side, east side, west side, front side, south side, east side, west side, dogs in Fli-City, come off all the baby, we light it up like cross in the sauce, we light it up like cross in the sauce, Fli-City got some dogs in Fli-City, come off all the we light it up like cross in the sauce, we light it up like cross in the sauce. My city experiencing the transition from pen to maximizing our dollars, multiply triple digits. I came a long way from baby jars in a project kitchen. Nowadays, free grab charts just mind my business. All praise to the most high, how this young keep living. Resurrecting the spirit of all stars, how I'm living.
You hear that, Rob? Yeah, nice. Yeah. I came back on. Yeah.
Assets to the races, all warriors like outlaws, we put up foes. I'm sick of these gatekeepers and politicians. The father said people bury you like a vision. It's time to rise, black lives, baby, it's overflow, you know. Betty back, no 9 to 5, only 10 to go. A city of monsters, a bunch of go-getters. We don't rock the stars, we do all the living. We don't let it stars, we do all the living. We don't use the stars, we do all the living. We don't let it stars, we do all the living. We don't rock the stars, we do all the living. We don't let it stars, we do all the living. We don't rock the stars, we do all the living.
I'm not coming out here right now. Welcome. Peace and blessings. We are live on the set, and it is a glamorous day, right? You know, good shout out to everybody in the community of Flint. Big shout out to everybody who supports all our efforts, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's Fli-City, Blackout, just the Urban Peace Corps, right? Any of our programming or activity that you see is out there in the community, and just trying to stay abreast and liberation for Black folks. And that's our main objective, that's our goal. So we just happy to be here and enjoy these opportunities to share light and have conversations. We'll have real dialect. The point of this whole segment and this show is to really be a platform, be a voice, right, for the voiceless. So when you talk about activity that takes place in our community, whether it's activity down at City Hall, City Council, whether it's activity on the Flint School Board, and all our partners and collaborators doing with, working for the betterment of our youth, whether it's cleanups with the block clubs, associations, folks just out there just making waves and small community champions that you may not hear about, but doing phenomenal work. We represent that. Right. So it's an honor.
It is, very much so.
When you say that, so often, we got to realize that we are in a system, and we have to be engaged and to understand, what the game is. Once you understand what the game truly is, then you know how to play the game
Right.
And how are you gonna be successful at this game because it's wicked? And some things that we really gotta start paying attention to. Again, guys, and we always wanna keep it real. I wanna thank, Mr. Darius. I'm always sitting in for him right now.
Shout out to this.
I'm a free agent, so I'm sitting in, on the bench. I came off the bench,
Right.
to fill in for the brother, and I just always
That's
wanna
not
do a
true. We got a contract. We talk about
good, I wanna do a good job. But I do wanna, mention just a little bit about, private, Mr. Gordon. Some of you guys may know of this phenomenal picture of this, African. His back is whipped, has lashes all over his back.
Mhm.
His name was Private Gordon.
Mhm.
Why is that important? Just want to mention and how it corresponds today. Our men and women that fought in the Civil War for freedom, so-called freedom of this country, were paid $7, $7 a month, and it was supposed to be $10. Well, really supposed to be $13. The white Union officers were paid $13, and they got their uniforms free. The Africans or the black Union soldiers had to pay $3 for their uniforms, and they were paid $7. And many of them, their wives or their girlfriends or their parents did not receive any kind of money from the War Department once the war was over with. Their claims went unfilled, meaning they were not able to draw any money or any compensation for fighting in the Civil War. So when we say, what is the coalition? You think about the Homestead Act of 1862, 93 million or 100 million white people benefited from getting free land, which most of them benefit today from the free land that they were given back in 1862. Now, one black person received anything like that in the Homestead Act. So when you think about what someone was able to build a legacy on, and those black Union soldiers was unable to build a legacy on, based on them serving in the military. And again, when you think about resources, that's where the power lies.
Right.
And so how does that relate today? Okay, they always say voting. If voting wasn't so serious or important, why are they doing all they can to stop people from voting? And now let's look at locally. Locally, we've been voting in Flint, Michigan proper, guys, at almost 15 to 16%.
Yeah.
For a city of this size, you can say 70 or 80,000 people, but voting at those low levels, that's why it's a mockery. That's why they're able to manipulate the system and do. If you can get 1,000 or 2,000 people to vote for you, you got it made, guys.
Yeah.
That's the game that they playing here. And you can throw out little trinkets, little shiny objects, and we go for it. And so again, guys, why is this important? Shiny objects, yeah, 3-pound Molly.
Like making a lottery, a draft pick, or
Yes, ma'am.
a daily $50,000 cash drawing.
Yeah.
Take a shot.
Take a shot.
Okay.
That's it. And again, back to culturally conditioned. And again, we as Brother Dewan was talking about the engagement on the ground. We're gonna have to get back. Sometimes the old way of doing some things was the best way, guys. I'm gonna tell you, man. One thing that Dr. King and them did, man. That boycotting that bus company. Our fight is not with weaponry. Our fight is with our dollars. We can bring this country to a halt if today these NFL players will not play this fall. I am asking for the NFL players, if you are black enough, instead of being Becky with the good hair, if you will be black enough to not suit up and play for a system, because that's the only way we're going to get any kind of respect.
Right.
They spend their money playing in space. Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk spending billions of dollars to play around in space. What that money could do locally in communities across the country, it could end poverty. Out there in Seattle, Washington, Atlanta, Georgia, they got homeless California people sleeping on the street. Do you know what that money could do in our community? But they playing in space.
Right.
So when we talk about what is important and being on the ground and our commitment to understanding we only gonna be here for a second. We are going to die.
Mm-hmm.
So we can choose how to live our life as we move forward.
Right.
The little time that we have here, we gotta make this count. And so the challenge has to be, as you started earlier, what is your assets and what you're gonna do? This show, what we wanna really encourage our community is to do something.
Right.
We're not saying take the big bite off the elephant.
Right.
You know, you eat the elephant one piece at a time.
Right.
You eat the elephant one bite at a time. So we're just asking our community to be collected, whatever in your community, whatever's around you, if it's to cut grass, if it's to say hello to a neighbor, let's start giving our flowers out today,
Right.
as opposed to looking over somebody in the casket. So that's what we gotta be committed to.
I think, you know, you kind of laid it down very well. I think, you know, it's a seriousness that is needed from us in this community, and then just in general, just us from the culture. Like brother, we was talking about this just a minute ago. The fact that if we don't do something now or intervene, we don't change the course of the direction for Black people, then we'll find ourselves in a museum.
Yes.
Meaning we'll be extinct then.
Right.
You know, we know that there's been different groups of different people, different phases that try to wipe out the Black culture for a very long time. Now, I know that we're very resilient, but at the same time, if we look at this as legacy and we talk about longevity,
Right.
there's some things that we need to change, we need to get up on. So just like when we showed them during this last election, and we came out in numbers and droves, and we turned the election around, right? Because we voted. A lot of people don't put emphasis on voting because they think it's something that's old school, right? Well, little do they know, this is the liberties of life for American people. For people, this is how you get things moved across. This is how, you know, a fair election, democracy is done.
Right.
And just cut you off to make the point. The voting, that's the game. So back to understanding the game. You got to understand what the rules of the game is and how to play the game. And again, you got people that's cheating.
Right.
They're cheating.
Right. Blaming, just cheating and lying and cheating
Right in your face.
Right.
In your face.
Right in your
I
face.
think, you know, just like when you talk about the big lie with the election, right? You got folks that really believe in that.
Yes.
Right.
Right. And let's be serious and being honest. We know that there's some folks that's out here that's delusional, right? That really believe some of the stuff that they be talking about. Now, when you're talking about that election was ran properly and it was done across the board, you know, we've seen, we investigated, we looked at it, and everybody checked into these processes.
Right.
So it was done and over. But you got people that's in legislation, right? You got people that's in leadership. You got former presidents, right? That's, you know, just basically just kind of kicking democracy down and saying that this was a stolen election and this is what they riding on, this is what they believe in, and pumping up American people to believe in this lie and to just propaganda, and it's just political warfare. But you know, you got people out here really dying.
Yeah.
Just based off of, you know, everyday life and everybody trying to make it, trying to get the resources to live. We're not talking about the seriousness of, you know, really advancing people because we so caught up into these games and this nonsense.
The folly.
The folly, right? So for us though, we got to be very smart. We got to be very diligent, and we can't go for that. And I think Black people, it's time. Let's just say people. It's time for us to just be very serious and being very strategic how we move forward.
Right.
And I think that's kind of what we get into when you talk about where we are locally, statewide, and across the country.
Yes.
I think I think also with that being said, I think it's even in things like this, like Black Lives Matter, things like that, you know, some people just are hell bent on saying that they're with it and they're in it or whatever for a title or just for stature, right?
Yeah.
Or just for someone to say, oh, they're a part of it, or because it'll look good on my resume type, you know, and they're really not for the cause for real.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, eventually you'll be found out, but it's just the point of having to do all of that work to get them all out, right?
Yeah.
And it's disheartening to know that Black lives don't matter to all Black people.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a real
That's a real statement.
That's a real statement, and you know,
It is disheartening.
Drop the mic.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of times we find out, you know, it be people that kind of look like us, man, and maybe doing some of the work on behalf of their master, right? And those are the folks that we have to deal with and address while we're addressing the big issues. Right? So it's like we got a long fight, we got a big, huge undertaking. But nevertheless, it's something that we have done and able to do.
Right.
And we have all the capabilities to make this happen. You know, I just think it's like when we get into the mind of being focused, it always starts with mental health. If we mentally looking at this, like, okay, well, I'll play a role in this because I'm a part of you know, you are, and I owe this back to you all to play my part of the village. So meaning that I should be voting. I should be looking after the youth in the community. I should be taking care of my elders, you know, that's in our neighborhoods, in our community, right? These are things that these are basic civil duties that we should have. And it's getting back to that.
I think that the disconnect is something that Brother Robert said quite a few weeks ago. That stuff with me is just about you not knowing your history, right? Because looking back at your history and seeing your history, you know that those things work, right?
That's right.
Not riding a bus, keeping your dollars black, forming your own communities and having your own things right in there. Like those are the things that work. You can see that. You can go back and see that. But if it's one of those things where I don't want to watch another one of them. How many slave movies can I watch? How many this can I watch? How many this can you bring up? It's a point. And it's a purpose to it. And just because you're looking at it from one side doesn't mean that you can't look at it from another side with all these movies coming out or whatever the case may be. I just think it's one of those things that we're not really looking into our history. We're just thinking that, that old man just talking about what he did with it. We ain't them, that ain't us no more. We ain't come. You're absolutely right. And it's not. And we can find our own lane in the way of doing that because we are not them. However, the foundation is that what they had already put down. So what we do is you build on top of that, right?
Of course.
And we're not doing that because we're not looking at it. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing that those things work, those merchants, those everything. And they say they didn't work. They did though.
And when you really say that, then this is really when you think about the irony of what you just said. At one time, it was segregated. And Jim Crow. And do you know, literally, other people came into communities of color and burned them and set them on fire, y'all?
Yes.
Y'all think about this now.
Yes.
Segregated, these people have built something up, minding their own business, and were still destroyed. Now, as you just said about it, that's why history is so important. And bringing up the Alamo. When you can choose to just continue to lie and say Columbus discovered something that was already here, first of all, and then you're going to say the Alamo had nothing to do with slavery, insane.
Already here and established, right?
Already here established. Native people and other Africans were running around, having a good time. And when you think about what you just said, it's powerful because we have done some incredible things and continue to do some things to ourselves because Dr. King said, I led my people into a burning house, guys. Now, he said that before he died. You think about it, guys. And so the commitment, as you just were saying about turning things around, we've got caught up on fads. Now, is it Jay-Z and Floyd Mayweather and these so-called Negroes with money responsibility to heal the community as opposed to going to Magic City to the strip club and buying Rick Ross Maybachs? Rick Ross is bragging about all the cars he got. Is it his responsibility or is it the responsibility of the federal government to make sure that Flint community right now on the north side, there is not really no community center that's open, no swimming pool, no skating rink, no skating park, no environment where you're talking about children can go and play in safety because again, if these kids do not have anything to do, they are going to be terrorists. Meaning, all of us was children at one time, we were bad.
Right.
Idle time, we're going to figure some stuff out. And if it's not nobody there to guide us, we're gonna create some madness.
Right.
Right.
And then all this is done intentionally because when you go in other communities, Flint, Otisville, Birmingham, Utica. When you go up into those multi-million-dollar communities, they got things in place to make sure that their children have access to resources.
Mm-hmm.
And again, why aren't we doing that? And again, this is the fight that we gotta be concentrating on as opposed to running and hollering. What can we do collectively to change our direction and start as Dr. King and them did with the boy bus cop? We gotta start boycotting. We gotta start doing some things to say enough is enough, and I am tired to save my babies and save my legacy.
I think you said it best when you talk about it's the continuity in this. Because a lot of times, just like with the Black Lives Matter movement, I know when there's an innocent brother or sister being shot down on the streets, I know that we are hot for that issue for the first week. I think, that's the energy that we need. But when you talking about staying dedicated to see it all the way through, you talking about Montgomery boy bus cop.
Yeah.
You talking about 385 days
Mm-hmm.
dedication of not riding the bus, still going to work and getting your children to school.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's a lot for transportation. We have cars that we have to transport them to school and go to work. That's a lot. So for them to be dedicated enough to say, all right, well, you know what, I'm gonna stay committed to the group. I'm gonna stay committed to the mission. Right? I'm not gonna ride this bus. I'm gonna shut it down economically. Because that's what they respect.
That's right.
That was the way that they were able to get the things that they want.
That's right.
We talk about Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King realized it later on in his life, and unfortunately toward the end, that there was some economic consequences that he had to push on the folks that he was pressing the issue on. And I know a lot of times we don't talk about the finances, but resources, it takes money, it takes finances, it takes support to be able to help a family out, to be able to pay your bills. So you need that type of economic flow. Like we need to be able to create our own economic drivers.
You gotta spend money to make money.
Yeah, when we create our economic drivers, then we'll be able to support our public health initiatives here. We're able to have employment opportunities. We're able to create this middle class. Right? We're able to have entrepreneurs and minority-led businesses.
We're able to call our own shots. I mean, it's the perfect example of them moving powers from Carpenter Road over there on Court Street. I mean, all that was done intentionally so that people don't have to go, and they were intentionally wanting to destroy this city. So those people do not have to ride through this city. So
or even be housed right next to Northwestern.
Or be housed, and again, when you think about playing the long game, see, we get caught up with bickering over crumbs. City council crumbs. Neighborhoods over crumbs. I don't like you. You said something. We on this stupid stuff, right? And again, you got other people that are planning 50, 60, and 100 years down the road, man. And they put little things in the water. They put little things in the water to make sure that we gonna choke on it, right? Because they throw little things at us and we run over to that. See, that's the trick, man. Almost like the Pied Piper. Give me a little something, we all gonna jump off the cliff and wonder why we did it, but we chasing an illusion. And again, back to that commitment, and King, that's why history is so real history, not fake history. Real history is important because nothing is new under the sun.
At all.
And if we are committed, we can really, really make some changes moving forward, guys. And that's our commitment.
And that's the thing, we have to have the commitment, and not only have the commitment, but be able to unify, right?
Yeah.
Because that's even that, we can have a commitment, but you can have a commitment to this and you can have a commitment to that. But if we don't come together on the same commitment and one goal, we gotta be one band, one sound.
That's good. That's one band, one sound. Wow.
We have to be that in order to get it done. And I think that's I just think that, like I say this all the time, I just feel like that people think because it doesn't directly affect them, that it doesn't mean anything to them. But again, that's why it's so disheartening that Black lives don't matter to all Black people. That's what I feel like, and it's really disheartening. It's exhausting. Let me just say that. It's exhausting because you are, you doing this and you doing that and you fighting a good fight all the time, right? And then you just, you feel defeated because you feel like, little fish, the big pond, and it's just and you can say all of this and people that look exactly like you, live on the same blocks as you, just buck you so hard about it. Like it's just like it's not a thing, like it doesn't matter. I don't live out there. What?
And that's that cultural conditioning for 500 years. Fannie Lou Hamer, Ella Baker, when you talk about, back in the day when you had black police officers beating Fannie Lou Hamer, you think about that mindset that these black police officers would beat this queen, but the slave master or the sheriff told these black police officers to beat Fannie Lou Hamer mercifully. So again, when you think about the cultural conditioning, because when you're Jesus, when you love white Jesus, again, you got to be honest about this, guys. We have been screwed up in this country for 500 years. It has impacted our daily life, and we have been internalizing. When you think about the Stockholm syndrome, we have fallen in love with our oppressor. We do all we can to make our oppressor happy. Yes, boss, I got my foot on his neck. Yes, boss, I am doing the job you have assigned me to do. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna do it better than you can do it. So again, these things have to be dealt with when you think about the trauma that we all have experienced. And again, you have to be willing to come out of that trauma. And it takes work and it takes a willingness. And we cannot, and I must stress this, we cannot. The whole reason that we are here today is because of our ancestors.
Yes.
And many of our ancestors chose to take their lives as opposed to be involved in this thing called the United States.
Right.
My sister, I need you to mention those events right quick before.
Okay. We have some upcoming events, these fun things that are coming up, right? So Saturday, we have a bunch of stuff going on, right? So Saturday morning at 10 a.m., correct? Right here at the Oak Street Business. We have general conversations with Brother Roberts. Everybody come out. It's a general conversation to get those things and those ideas off your chest and those, some of the things that you'd like to see, and not only just talk about it, but just put some action plans into place, and so we can go forth and we can just do it, right? So those are the things we'd like for you to come out and do with Brother Roberts. Myself, I'll be here, a few of us, and we'll all just come out here and we'll just need to put our brains together and do exactly what we said we were gonna do, is just get an action plan together and just be unified, one band, one sound, right?
That's right, that's right.
Also Saturday going on is Mike Doan's Fun Day at Potter, correct? That is at 3 p.m. Am I correct on that?
I think that's, 3 to 7.
3 to 7 at Potter Elementary.
Potter Elementary.
Yeah. So that is going on, and then we are having a block party, right? On Pulaski, Saginaw and Pulaski, we're having a block party. Everybody come on out. That's August 7th.
2 to 6.
And we're having a block party. Come out, we're gonna have food, we're gonna have music, we're just gonna have a good time, we're gonna get together, we're gonna fellowship, and we're gonna be great together.
Come on now.
And that's what we need to do. Everybody is invited, everybody come out. It's not just for Pulaski, that's just happens to be where we housing it. Just come on out and celebrate with us, just fellowship, let's just get together, let's just enjoy the last few days of summer together.
And one of the concepts behind this effort, guys, is how we talk about violence, what's going on in our community. If we can start talking and loving on each other, door to door, when I can start hugging you and seeing you as a brother or a sister, not because I'm biologically connected to you, but because I believe in you and I see you and me. And again, we just want to start, offering a conversation or introduction on how block by block, door by door, we can start loving on each other. And I think that's the essence behind this block party.
It's a party with a purpose.
Absolutely.
Tom Joyner used to say, we party with a purpose.
Right.
We are continuing that legacy to party with a purpose. So your neighbor is not a stranger. Your neighbor is not an enemy.
Absolutely.
And again, these kids are behaving the way they are in clubs, so no going, the list going on with club next. It's because they don't love themselves.
Right.
When you love yourself, you're going to act differently.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not going to see you as a threat.
Right.
Because I've been trained by Grand Theft Auto, all the videos,
Yeah.
all the thuggism, all the gangster rap have influenced me since I was a baby to act a fool, to wear my pants slouching like I want to have something behind there. You know, it's been intentionally for our young ladies to think that, you know, they are an object as opposed to a queen and a princess. And again, this is culturally conditioned that our young men think less than themselves because nobody has told them, I love you, young man. You are me and I am you.
Right.
And I must give all of me to you for you to be great. We got to get on those, as she just said, one band, one sound. We got to get on that sound wave. Because the whole reason, again, that we're here is because our ancestors were here. And if we call on them, they have to come. If we call on our ancestors collectively, they have to show up because that has been ordained by the Creator.
And when you talk about the love part of it, and you want to be able to love on people, but we have to be willing to love and be loved, right? And I think that's the second part of it is that is a lot that we're missing, the be loved part. Because some people aren't willing to just let me love on you, right?
Right.
Let me love you, like let me be what I am here to be, because we were created by love to love, right? And we don't do that, and we are not conditioned to love and be loved, and that's just really what we need to do. It would be so much better if, you know, I could reach out to you and be like, hey, King, I haven't seen you in a while. I love you. Be great out here in these streets. Catch you next time. Right? It's just that simple. Right?
Well, the application,
I think it is. I think it's just that simple. I think a smile and a hey, or even a phone call. Hey, I was thinking about you. I just wanted to call and just say, hey, what's up? I don't want nothing. I was just thinking about you.
You see how I lit up when she said that? Like, you wasn't even talking to me, but I was deep in him.
And the application to healing trauma is just the action that she just emulated, guys. That's how you start healing trauma. We are going to move into our history impact.
Yep.
So thank you, guys.
Right. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah. It was the New York slave conspiracy. This was in 1741. So in 1741, this was also extremely, they want to say a complex story, but there's nothing complex about people wanting to be free. What happened in the months between March and April, 10 fires were set in the city of New York. And again, these were Americans of African descent, they were enslaved, wanting to be free. And again, they coined the phrase the New York slave conspiracy because, again, somebody black told on those other blacks that wanted to be free. All through all of the rebellions and uprisings that ever existed in the United States, none of them was really successful because black people told on black people. I mean, that's, you know, I'm not going to put it no other raw than that. Black people, we tell on each other to our masters. And again, until we are going to kill our masters or refrain from supporting our masters, we're going to continue to suffer the way we suffer every day in Flint and in the United States. The next uprising is the Gabriel Prosser Revolt in 1800. Again, this one was really, really important. He was the leader, Gabriel Prosser. He too, in the 1800s, led a revolt and tried to change his condition and the condition of his people. And again, his situation is documented like the other ones I talked about, was somewhat after they did some killing, it was told, and the white plantation owners were prepared for them when the black people rose up, and their uprising or their wanting to be free was shut down immediately after a couple of days. The next one I want to talk about, and this one, man, I really want to get into this. It's called the Igbo Landing Mass Suicide. This was in 1803. Again, IGBO Landing Mass Suicide. This one right here is really, really, really something that we need to really get into. Again, the Igbo Landing Mass Suicide. What took place in this alleged event in 1803? The name of the ship that had ran aground, this slave ship had ran aground. And these Africans were from the Igbo tribe of Africa. And so much of the landing or the land area, or the demographics of those areas on the coast look like African coast, right? And again, you got to remember that and many times, sometime through that voyage, people would be disorientated as far as, north, south, east, and west. But they were clear about the voyage that they had just experienced for 2 months, and then the ship ran aground. What these people did, 150 people, what they did, instead of go into to be enslaved, they chose to drown themselves, 150, and the white people tried to save them. They saved about 18 of them, and then they still wanted to charge the people that wanted to, instead of just be enslaved, they would rather die than to be enslaved. And even the white people, after they had salvaged some of them out of the bay down in Georgia, this happened in Georgia, off the coast of Georgia, and what they tried to do was they wanted to charge them with killing their own life. Isn't that something? They wanted to charge these Igbo people for not wanting to be enslaved. So again, I want to leave again, and I want to thank our community again for being engaged, but we're on a journey. We're on a journey of recovery, with repairing the brokenness, the trauma that we all are experiencing on a daily basis. When we look about what's happening in the Senate and in the Congress, we look about what's going on around this country. When we think about capitalism, capitalism was never designed. It always had been a system that was designed to make sure people stay poor. America capitalism is based on the plantation system. There's always a master or a CEO or overseer. And again, those people working under in any field will not be paid fairly. This is what we continue to deal with today. Today, they're having an event downtown at the sheriff department, which is a joke about expungement. Again, when you think about, we come to this country since 1619 and has always been a criminal, been treated like a criminal from the day that we landed on these shores and didn't ask to come here. Again, we did not ask to come here, white people. We don't want to be here. We want to be left alone. Just leave us alone. You keep trying to fix us. We don't want to be fixed. So again, I'm hoping that this will spark the minds of our community, where we start being engaged and start loving on one another. Yesterday, I was at a meeting and one young lady mentioned something about we need to be engaging in doing things for ourselves and making ourselves available. Wonder why our youth are out of control, why our city's out of control. We need to make ourselves available. The older people, the people that have moved out to the suburbs, we need to make ourselves available to one another so we can heal each other. I want to thank you again. I'm Hubert Naeem Roberts, Black Lives Matter Flint board member, host of History Impact. And again, looking forward to hearing from you. My phone number is 810-394-4105. Email mentorroberts@gmail.com. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right. All
all right. Checking back in. That was a History Impact segment brought to you by Brother Hubert Roberts, who is our historian. The brother is always talking and researching and getting information, pertinent information that's going to help us learn from our past, and then also how we need to function and properly operate in the future.
right.
So it's good for us to be hearing about all like the activity that took place before us and how that kind of really intertwines with what's going on today, and then where we can kind of take what they used before that work and what we can develop that's going to work for these times. So I think, man, that segment is always powerful and I always appreciate what you bring to the table. So big shout out to Brother Robertson and his feedback. With that being said, we got a very, very special guest that came up today that's also running for Flint City Council. He is currently representing the 8th Ward. He's a candidate on this primary election, August 3rd, and also a general election. We know he's going to move forward. We want to make sure that we support these young brothers that be coming in and looking with a new vision for Flint. You know, we can't say that enough. You know, a lot of times we talk about the young people don't have, or the young people are not involved, or the young people are not trying to do anything.
Or they don't have a voice.
Or they have a voice, so they don't even give us opportunity. But I would have to really say, like, I am really, really pleased with the young work from our young people and our young brothers and sisters that's out there, that's dedicated, no matter how many doors being shut in our face, and steadily come out to be civil leaders and, you know, really want to make a difference. And that's what we got today, man. So y'all put it together for our brother, Mr. Thomas Ross. What's going on, good brother?
What's going on? I want to thank y'all for allowing me to be here. Appreciate y'all for allowing me to be a part of the show. I think y'all do a great job with the show, man. I'm pleased with what y'all doing.
Appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. That's the point of it, man, is just ensure that, you know, we do talk about these things, and whether it be in political activity, whether it be in music and entertainment, whether it be in what's taking place in the community, announcements, updates, community conversation, block parties, right? But nevertheless, we are in campaign season, man, and that Flint City Council is a very, very important place to be coming up, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the city. I think across the board, every single ward. Currently, you know, we don't have enough proper leadership across the board. You know, a lot of in-house, back and forth bickering, nothing getting done. You know, things aren't getting moved forward that would properly help the city of Flint and the residents. I believe there needs to be a change in a big way, and I'm running to help be a part of that change in a big way.
Okay.
So as so as we say, like Flint City Council, it has been, and you know, this is just from a person, this is from a constituent in the community, right? I don't think that is really gave its members or the residents a fair shot. A lot of times you feel like it's personality clashes, and I think they be fighting about some old stuff. And you know, sometimes, you know, we get tired of even hearing that. You know, so we really do want a new council that's going to come in, that's going to be really dedicated to the people that it serves, and then also coming with a plan and vision, not to be thinking reactively, but how can we be proactive, right? How can we really go ahead and get out here and get funds in here? How can we look at reparations in the city? How can we make sure that we eliminate life? How can we end the violence in some form or way? What type of economic plans that we can put forth to make sure that the next generation got opportunity out here? So I think, man, we got a lot of work that's cut out for us with a failing public school system, with a low job rate, with public health scares, and social determinants that's running rampant here in the city of Flint. We got our work cut out for us. And so it's going to take young visionaries, it's going to take people that's got new ideas and that's really ready to kind of roll their sleeves and get out there and hit the ground to make that happen, man. So what we thinking as it relates to Flint City Council, Brother Thomas, and what do you feel that you can best bring to the table at this current time?
At this current time, and what I've learned through this whole process is we have so many people that's constantly talking more about what we cannot do. You come up with an idea They say, nah, we ain't got the money for this. We ain't got that. I think it's time out for constant talking about what we can't do, and we need more to talk about what we can do. I believe the possibilities are endless, right? Like, we have a lot of, just on the economic, we have a lot of entrepreneurs throughout the city of Flint. But oftentimes, helping getting their business started is usually the hardest part. But I think we need grants, programs in place to help our young people and people in general get these businesses off the ground, get them started. Like some of these, like we have a lot of, like on Fenton and Corner Road in particular, I consider that like the business district of the 8th Ward. There's a lot of potential, and that's and those are main roads coming into the city of Flint. Wouldn't it be nice if we had some businesses, up and coming new businesses? And we don't always have to be like, I think a lot of times when people think about us on a business, they think about, okay, food trucks. We're worth more than food trucks.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We're better than that. You know what I'm saying? But I look at it like this: if you see a brother with a food truck, what can we do to help get that brother a business? Right? Let's give him a building.
Brick and mortar.
Yeah, an actual building.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I would ask. Yeah.
So you can hire some other folks who may know how to cook or in the culinary arts.
Yes.
Or some young people that just need opportunity.
Yes, like I like Zimmerman. I think Zimmerman has a lot of potential. Like we can put programs in Zimmerman. Like let's put some culinary stuff inside of Zimmerman. Let's put some skilled trades programs inside of Zimmerman. There's so many things that we can do to clean up our neighborhoods. Like let's figure out where we can put like a skating rink, right? A community center, like we're on Fenton Road, where the old Cody Elementary School is just a big open space right there, right? I would like to see the 9th Ward council person and the 8th Ward council person collaborate and come together with city council and administration to put something there for the residents on that side of town, right? And when you talk about people having an issue with getting around the places, like there's several churches, you know what I'm saying, on that side of town. Let's get a bus program together. We can come and get kids from the other side of town and bring them over here to this, and and vice versa. Let's put some community centers on the north side. Let's take some of those kids from the 8th Ward, bring them over here. Let's bring them over some of these kids over here on this side of town so they can get to know each other. There's so many things that we can do, and it's just a matter of getting the people in there that's willing to do it. It's time off of constant talking about we don't have the money for this, we don't have the money for that. I believe we do. It's just a matter of having the willpower to say, you know what, we stand on this is what we want, and bringing the community together, because it's power in numbers. One person can't do it alone, but it's power in numbers. It's unity is the key to anything, numbers and unity.
I think you said it best, right? And that's key action items with plans, right? Some strategies. We got different things. We got a lot of problems, right? But we are actually looking at how we can kind of provide any solutions to these issues, right? So when you're talking about, even like you're in the 8th Ward, right? You still will be working with members that represent different wards around the city. So it's still not only that you represent for the 8th, but then also collectively you work for the city, right? And so currently right now, we got a problem with, people kind of like working together because sometimes maybe different personality clashes, or they just may not like somebody. Or maybe somebody did something to you, right? But you have every reason to not like the person or not support, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, too, man, listen, we'd be like, all right, well, we also got to come to the table and say, I'm still representing this side, and I still got to get this work done. So, regardless of if I like you or not, it's not about no clicks. It's about saying, hey, listen, man, what makes sense, and how we can all get off and make sure everybody is taken care of and we benefit all this whole city.
Right.
So that should be the mindset. And currently, we don't have it.
No.
Currently, we don't have that type of reason on council.
When it comes to city council, I've been asked, like, what would you do for city council to make, help city council run smoother? One of the solutions I came up with, like, I think city council is considered part-time. And so we meet maybe a few times in a month, but we try to pile everything into those few times that we meet. To me, a city councilman's job should be full-time, and we should meet more frequently, but on more specific issues. So if we meet more often, we can chop up some of the issues into smaller, the smaller portions, deal with specific stuff on this day, and then we come to the next day, now we deal. That way we're not so bombarded, and we can have more time to deal with those issues. Because I know some of the complaints from city council is they don't have enough time to deal with specific issues. You get a couple minutes to speak about it, talk about it, try to deal with it, then you vote on something, then you move on. We need to be able to delve into these issues deeper to figure out real solutions to these problems. And so my thing is, let's make city council full-time. Let's meet more often and talk about these things. meeting 1-2 times a month or very, it's not doing it.
Right.
So,
Right.
so with those things that you want to put in place as far as city council is concerned, what are your plans within your ward?
For me, my top 3 issues for the 8th Ward is crime, blight, economic development. I believe crime and blight go together. I don't think you can solve one without the other. You show me a place where there's a lot of blight, I'll show you a place where there's a lot of crime. I think by eliminating blight, you effectively help get rid of some of the crime. I know like in the 8th Ward specifically, we don't have a whole lot of issues as far, we do have some gun violence, but not on the scale that I think maybe some other wards do. We have a lot more breaking and entering, theft, those kind of things. I would like to see us put programs in place for the people on that side of town, like Zimmerman. I go back to Zimmerman. Let's do something with Zimmerman to give people an outlet to have somewhere to go. With crime, I would like to see a mini station on that side of town so we can have a police officer that the residents get to know and be able to approach on a personal level. Say, you see my name, how you doing, officer so and so. That way we can bring the community and the police department together to work together. You wouldn't be so afraid to say, hey, I saw this going on, to speak up about things that you know is going on that you might otherwise, because we have an issue with speaking up about crime. A lot of things going soft because nobody wants to speak up. I would like to help maybe put a mini station in the 8th Ward to help bridge the gap between the residents and the police department. When it comes to economic development, I speak about the Finn Road and Front Road. To me, Finn Road and Front Road are like the business districts of the 8th Ward. They lead directly into the city of Flint going toward downtown. I look at what Kettering is doing so close to the 8th Ward with everything they're putting all kinds of stuff, money behind that particular area. When you go a few feet up the road and you notice that it's nothing, burned out buildings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I want to see some of those buildings that can no longer be used tore down and given an opportunity for our young entrepreneurs to be able to get a building there and put their business there. I spoke about like the food truck. We see a lot of guys that love food and love cooking. You know what I'm saying? Let's get behind, help them get a restaurant, actual business. They like people, we got people that technology is huge, right? Right. So let's put some new stuff in there. Somebody got an idea as far as technology, something they want to do. They fix computers, they fix phones, whatever it is they want to do. Let's put a building there, a brick and mortar, so we can have people to actually come there, and give them a way to be able to make money. There's so many opportunities and possibilities, like I said, but it's just a matter of getting the right people in there to really help the residents of Flint. I don't believe there's enough transparency. One thing that I would like to do is, I believe every city council person on a bi-weekly or monthly basis to send out a report showing exactly what's going on, what they've done for that time period on a bi-weekly to monthly basis. Transparency is key, I believe. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to say you're going to do something, well, show me. You know what I'm saying? I want to bring transparency back to city council and back to the 8th Ward.
I think that point about being able to report out on the work that you have done, right? Because all too often, a lot of our elected officials, they are in position. They're in there for 2-4 years, right? But sometimes you don't necessarily see them, or you ignore, the work that they completed. Right? So I think for us as constituents and as residents, we should be saying and calling folks to the table. That's what's so important with the community conversation.
Right.
Town hall. It's really so that way you can report out on, hey, listen, I work in this area. If I'm in the 8th Ward, I work in this area. We had a blight cleanup, right? We addressed the blight that's taking place in the area, right? We were able to derail any type of crime because, now we got spots where we can see it's visible, right?
Right.
And then also we just did a number of engagements, right? We're looking to write some city ordinance, right? Those type of things is like you can say, hey, okay, they're working over there. Obviously, they got something going on. They're dedicated, they got a plan.
Right.
See, I think, those are the things that we want to start pushing our elected officials to, like come to report, because actually the voters are your employers. Right? We are employers, so, we pay your salaries, right? We pay, we make sure that you're in office. That stuff is on our account. So you want to be able to tell us what you're doing on our hard working earned dollars. And that's what we have to make sure that we force.
Right.
elected officials. And like us as a community, we don't necessarily do that enough. And I do want to speak to the community as enough because you want to make sure that you take the lead. You always want to be in the front. You always want to charge your elected officials with what you need to be, seeing in your community, right? So if if they talking about, in case point, at the city hall right now, I know Sheldon is talking about getting his helicopter, right? He's talking about doing crime. I think he want to jump out the helicopter and just like save the day. But you always have to look at the pros and cons, the risk and rewards. And so us as constituents, I don't think that's the route to go. We're talking about getting a helicopter, you're leasing a helicopter for hundreds thousands of dollars for 3 months to do what, right? After the 3 months is over, what's the plan, right? You still go have people out there committing crime. You have to have a real legit plan to address crime. And it's not about just getting more police officers. It's not about just saying we got to stop crime and violence. No, you really have to engage and really create the flow of people. You really have to make sure that people are looking at the needs and the necessities in their life so you can change the course, right? And them doing criminal activity, right? Those are the things that we talk about. Listen, once before I was a criminal at one point in time, right?
Right.
And the thing is this, man, you know what? It was because I needed to make a way. And, it wasn't about, helicopters or more police was gonna stop anything. The thing is, when I really just saw true value in myself and I found the opportunity in life and I wanted to change because I had 2 small children. And so those would be the purposes in life that really kind of get you to change. And that's what we have to tie people to. What I mean? You don't want to be involved in the prison system, or you don't want to go to jail anymore, or you don't want to be taken away from your family. Then you look at those things and say, hey, I need to make a change in life, and I want to be more productive, and I want to be constructive, right? I want to make sure that young men like myself don't go down these paths.
Right.
Those are the real connections. See, with like City Hall and this administration right now, it's not like a real connection to the community. And I'm just talking real talk, right? Because you've seen this all for the past all year. We've been talking about Flint is on the way to record-breaking murders in the city, right? We see that. Look at what Flint has been going through. When you talk about the water crisis, people have been victimized from the water crisis.
Right.
Yeah, those young people who were subjected to lead-based in the water is now somewhat teenagers, young adults that maybe out here really feeling a certain type of way. And then there's no support around there. There's no mental support, no health support, right? There's nothing that these folks can go to that's been subjected, that's been affected, right? To go ahead and, kind of get some resolve. So we just label them as bad children. We say that they're bad, they're no good, right? We need to lock them up. We need to go find them. No, it's the thing that, man, they've been in disinvestment for a long time. And so now this is the remnants what took place 10, 15 years ago.
Because every action has a reaction, right? And this is our reaction.
This is our reaction.
Yeah.
This is what we get, right? We don't make a way for our young people, and we just try to talk about clubs and Sunoco and all this other stuff. And we ain't saying like, okay, well, let's offer some solutions for these folks, right? I know they want to race, they want to have a good time, but we all want to live life and enjoy. Everybody got fast cars out here, everybody got money flowing, so it's cool. But the thing is, you still want to be safe because you don't want to go in and hit these people out here that's really out there on the road, that got children, that's got seatbelts on, that's living life too, right? So you got to think about that. At the same time, though, we got to be like, okay, well, what can we do? Can we make a track? Can we get a grant to be able to say this is a community race track? With maybe some concession stands and maybe some tables, vendors that just might kind of make it space. See, it's like these different things that we have to be about to say, okay, well, we take a situation and try to make it beneficial for this community.
Right.
That's how you got to do it. And I guarantee you come around here with them helicopters, I'm sure somebody's gonna shoot that thing down.
Listen, I feel the whole way. Oh my God.
It just
It just make my skin crawl. Even think about it or whatever. But so the solution, right, is to get a helicopter because it's gonna be you'll be able to see and A drone is cheaper. Why you just can't buy a drone?
That drone is cheaper. I see everybody.
I'm just saying.
I can look in your house. I can see everything. It's the body temperature all through the drone. Right?
Yeah.
So,
They have some really high tech ones. I just think that slow motion is better than no motion at all, right? You got to try something. You have to try something. You can't just not try. You have to try something. And I think that, spending all of that money is not to try. That's just a waste. And you really pissing on the city of Flint by doing that. You just pissing us off. Because I'm pissed off. That just pisses us off. Really.
right.
And so why do that? Like we are already angry, right? We're angry because it's nothing to do. We're angry because of the condition of the city. We're angry because it's a burned down house next to me that's been here for 5 years and y'all suckers ain't tearing it down. We are upset because this water is still not resolved. We are just angry. We are fed. We're just angry, right? We're just angry. And so now you're gonna spend $300,000 to get a helicopter here to do what?
Oftentimes, I think city council is spending, our leaders are spending a lot of time looking at the negative. Like, what if we flip it like what Dewan said? What if we flip it on head? They like to race. Maybe they got an actual genuine passion for racing. What can we do with this? Has anybody even talked to them about what is it that you guys need to be able to do this in a safe manner? Let's actually build a racetrack, right? So let's say we built them an actual place to race. We could actually turn that into we can add to that. What if we had an event where we get, men together with the young brothers in the neighborhood? Let's start having soapbox race. Like we build race cars and actually have races with our go-karts, with race cars that the kids built with other brothers in the neighborhood in the city. You know what I'm saying? We can have events on the weekend where we actually come out and race go-karts for the kids. That way we can have, there's so many things that we can do, but we spend so much time focusing on the negative.
So my suggestion was, okay, if you're working on that to get this money to build it, right? Why not partner with the racetrack in Clio and say, hey, let's partner with y'all until we can get this money up to build our own track so they can come there and it's structured.
Yep.
It's out the way.
Yes. We might actually have some brothers that's actually good at racing. You know what I mean? Like, and they may actually have a genuine passion for racing. But we would never know if we don't get out, we don't talk to these people on a human level. You know what I'm saying?
And then we just let them do it willy-nilly, but why not teach them the proper way to do it, right?
Yes.
Why not teach them how to do it? And then teach them all the things that goes along with it, like the pit.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I don't race, but I know about it.
There's a lot of
people that
things.
really like to do it, right?
Yeah.
And it's two different types of races. You got the Indy, right?
Yep.
You got the Daytona. There's two different type of cars, two different type of racing, two different type of drifts, two different type of wind speeds and things and turns and curves and all of that. You need to learn. Like, it's a thing. It's like a to do.
We have a program put in place, like Back to the Bricks. You know what I'm saying? That program put in, people come out, show out their cars, they come out here, they do what they do with their cars. We can do the same thing on a more local level with building a racetrack. If you like the racetrack, if you really genuinely like your car, you want to race it, there's nothing wrong with that. We can do it in a safe, positive manner. Then we can give back by doing that as well. You know what I'm saying? We can it can also, like, we can have racing events right here in the city of Flint that can help bring in some revenue. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, and people, like, like I said, the possibilities is in it if we really come together and put our brains together and think. You know what I mean?
But I think the problem is that people just look at the young people and they just want to push them off and don't want to see them anywhere, whether they're doing something positive or not, because because it's just that thing, right? When they look at them and they see them, right, they initially think it's a problem. Mm-hmm. And they initially think because your hair is just like this, that you are up to no good, right? Mm-hmm. It's those things like that. And why should I be afraid of, we look the same. Why should I be afraid of you?
Yep. We got to start reimagining who we are, and people got to start looking at other people as real people. You know, not everybody who wears dreads is a criminal. Not everybody wear a fade is a criminal. You know what I'm saying? Right. Not all our sisters that do wear their hair a certain way are criminals. You know what I'm saying?
I'm in corporate America.
Exactly. Tattoos don't make you a criminal.
In corporate America.
Yeah. You know, it's about reimagining who we are. We're good people,
Come
and,
on now.
and we gotta
Come on, Doc.
start, present
We are
ourselves.
great, we're great people.
Yes, yes,
History shows that we're great
Absolutely.
people, right?
Yes.
Back to that. History proves that we are great people.
Yes.
We are innovative people.
yes.
Because we gonna figure it out. By hook or by crook, we gonna
Yeah.
figure it out, right? We gonna figure out a way to either get around it, roll over, or run under it. We figure it out.
We've always had good ideas, and way to do things better, and then 12 times the credit went to somebody else. We never got the credit for that, you know what I'm saying, for a lot of the stuff that's been, like, for example, a lot of the inventions that we see, we never got credit for it. It always went to somebody else. When you really delve into the history of it, it was really the idea came from us, like the Jack Daniels thing.
Like Jack Daniels,
Yeah.
that was the first thing I thought of.
Yes.
That was the first thing.
Yep, Jack Daniels, it was a black man that taught, you know what I'm saying, Jack Daniels how to do that.
Same thing with Thomas Edison in Detroit with the light, right?
Yeah.
The light bulb. It was a black man that was working,
Ain't
working
your mama.
on the whole process, right? You know what I'm saying? What?
Ain't your mama.
Ain't your mama, yeah, same thing.
Mhm.
So, we know that, we have made significant contributions to American society. And, that's just something that we've done since the beginning of the time. You talk about what black people have committed to building on civilization.
Yes.
Right? We talk about, we was the first ones of astrology, right? Learning the moon, learning the stars, the sun, right? Learning how to build these pyramids with limestone, right? That's built at a 45-degree angle that's from the sun and transcends a certain type of energy, right? You just can't buy that type of knowledge.
No.
And, our people are the originals of this. So, for us to, not be credited, for all our creations, is really a slap in America face, because we know there wouldn't be no America without us.
Absolutely.
The stuff that people have benefited off of 300, 400 years of free labor, right? And you got these banking institutions, JP Morgan, Chase, you got all these different institutions that capitalize off free labor in America, right? That's still doing predatory lending to people who built this country, right? So, we don't even look to be, be receiving accolades from them or, anybody. I think, we should have the value within ourselves, knowing that what we did to this country, what we did for the culture, means everything. And that's how I look at it, and that's how I live. And I think we all should be proud of what we've done.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think if you look at like what Black Wall Street did during that time,
Mhm.
really what allowed them to be able to do what they did was simply unity. They had unity. People came together and said, we're gonna do this no matter what. And they were doctors, lawyers, carpenters, builders. There was all of that.
And they all live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, and they all came up right there together. Like, we can use a lot of what they did as a blueprint to bring Flint into the future. You know what I'm saying? We can do something that different, like, we can have our own bank. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just takes us actually coming up with the idea and getting behind one another, saying, I believe you can do that. You know?
We did that here before. We had a credit union. There's a black bank in Detroit that we were partnering with. Right? They can establish that here in Flint. So what we have to do and start learning and just continue to be about what helps push us forward.
Yes.
If that means patronizing a black business, spend a couple more cents with them, let's do that. That means, paying for these young people to be able to, explore a career in skilled trades or continue on in sports and entertainment we always are known for, or even looking at different research opportunities, right? Because we can, right? Let's do that, right? So it's like, I think for our generation, and that's why I was kind of speaking, I was like, I think, we just like, we have carried this mantle, and we appreciate, not being looked at and not given opportunity because we've been strong.
Yeah.
Forgiveness, that fact.
Yes.
To not ask for nothing from nobody, not crying big. We ain't never been about that. You ain't never seen us just be asking for some stuff or just crying about some stuff that, we feel that we should have. The thing is, we always been known to make something out of nothing. And that's just how we carry on. So now just wait until we get some real resources to really do what we really, really want to do. And you start seeing some real big change.
Right.
We do stuff at the lowest level.
Right.
With no resources, no support, right? But we make magic.
Yes.
So just start thinking about it in our mindset when we start looking at how do we recreate that magic, but how do we give these folks resources? How can we support these young people out here that's doing the work?
Yes.
How can we be a mentor from the older? How can we bridge the gap between the older and the young people? and how can we continue to keep some continuity going with all this. So we got big shoes to fill, and I just feel like this is our time. Yeah. And
I have a question about the young people now. How do you plan to get their attention and get them engaged?
For me, just like I use sports, you know what I mean? I came up in sports. I see a lot of other communities, they have actual youth sports like tackle football, basketball program. I don't see enough, like, because when I was coming up, even when I was coming up, there was no actual like youth sports in our community. Like I played youth sports in like Flint Township and then like Swartz Creek. I would like to bring in actual youth sports back into the city of Flint, so our kids don't have to go out to those other communities to have to play in their youth sports program.
I just talked about that.
Yeah, we're like we got a lot of opportunity to have our own youth sports program, like at Wood Stadium, right here in the community.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's a great spot to have youth sports. We got a lot of schools right here with gyms that are not being utilized. You know what I mean? There's a lot, and even like we can go deep in that baseball.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I want to
soccer.
Soccer.
I play soccer competitions in high school.
Yes. Even like I know gymnastics. We are a talented people.
Absolutely.
And I know like Grand Lake has a gymnastics program out there. We don't have nothing like that here. I know a lot of girls here in the city of Flint will love, because I think sometimes when we think about sports, we kind of push our girls to the side. You know what I'm saying? Like our girls are supreme athletes. We see that right now in the Olympics and what they're doing to kind of suppress us in the Olympics and not allowing us to compete at a supreme level.
them girls still killing it.
You know, so bringing sports back here at every level from elementary on up through the high school level, and engaging with the kids, putting in community centers for kids to have things to do after school. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause a lot of times kids come home, parents got to work. You know what I'm saying? So they come home to a home by themselves. Maybe there ain't no food there to eat. So let's start putting together programs, community center, where kids can come get something to eat, play sports, work on their homework. You know what I'm saying? All that kind of stuff.
I'm a huge advocate of sports. It's like I'm a huge advocate of kids in sports, right? And so when I was coming up, I played sports. So we started playing sports like super early. Those were the programs that we had. And so they started playing early. And same thing with my kids, you know, when they were coming up. That was just not for everybody, but that was just a rule for me. You had to pick something to play. You had to pick something to do, right? Because it just wasn't like, I just refused to have you just running the streets willy-nilly. You're going to be on the phones all day, tablets, TV, and all of that. You just had to do something constructive, so you had to pick a sport. So my son actually started playing football in the youth programs out there when he was 3 when he started playing. We lived in Beecher and I went to Beecher, but those programs, and they still have those football games and stuff. He started when he was 3. My son got a scholarship to go to Minnesota to play football. I mean, like, these are the things that could happen. I'm not saying that that's the narrative for everybody. However, it's constructive. It teaches them teamwork, you know, and you have to follow rules and some of the things that you have to. So back when I was playing, we had mandatory study right after school.
Yes.
Right before, as soon as after school, that whole hour was mandatory study hall, and you could not hit that practice floor if you didn't do that.
Yes.
And those are the things we need to get back to, because then that structure, right? And it teaches you can't do this, then you can't play. You can't even practice. You can't step on the gym floor.
I was gonna say also, while we're on this subject about sports, I had some nephews, like my nephews, like play basketball. And Brother Rich Jones actually coached some of my nephews, and he does a tremendous job with the youth. I gotta say that, give a shout to him, because he does a tremendous job with the youth and coaching them with basketball. I would love to see us take that on a bigger scale. You know what I'm saying? Let's get more involved in that. Like, a lot of time, we get looked at as being, just because of the way we look, we get automatically labeled as aggressive, right? And the kids got a lot of energy. Let's channel that aggression. Kid got something going on at home. He don't know if he ain't got nothing to do with his energy, he don't know no other way than let's go break into this building. Let's go rob some, you know what I'm saying? Something petty that's gonna get him a juvenile record. Well, let's give him some after school activity. And kids need to be on the schedule. know what I'm saying? They go to school,
Definitely.
they know when they get out of school, hey, we going up here, we going to play ball with Rich Jones today, they get excited to go up here, know they got somebody that's looking out for them. Kids get excited about somebody that love them, they care. Yeah, they get excited, they ain't gonna miss a day at the community, so they know Brother Rich Jones is gonna be up there. You know what I'm saying? And so giving them stuff that they get clubs. Like we got a lot of kids that don't necessarily play sports, but they're intelligent.
Love it.
You know what I'm saying? Let's put a math club in these community centers. Let's put a science club. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's put a debate club. Let's teach them how to debate. You know what I'm saying? All of that kind of stuff.
You know what we,
Chess.
you know
Yes,
what?
yes.
About the debate.
Yes.
First too, man, definitely, big shout out to Brother Rich Jones, man.
Shout out to
Third
Rich.
Ward, Friday and Canada,
Shout out to Rich.
definitely out there working and putting it out there with the community, doing work, you know, putting in the grunt work, working with our city youth, that we be complaining about, man.
Yes.
I think that's one of the premier positions in this community is to work with youth.
Yes.
Because they're adults in training. So, you know, they're gonna be whatever we turn them out to be.
That's it.
You gotta be on point, so,
Mhm.
that's for sure. But then also, just love the idea, just always, maximizing on what we got. We got all these buildings and facilities, we just said it, like the schools and all that stuff, right? They're just sitting there. So before, they get all rotting out and folks take everything out of it.
Yep.
We should be really utilizing them to the best of their abilities. So these schools, we should have different community centers in different wards, right? It's really kind of playing the background for education. Because
Yes.
we know we looking at education right now.
Yes.
And really, these kids are really gonna be 2 years behind by the time, we get past this.
Mhm.
Unfortunately. So we want to get on front of this and make sure that our youth and our students are not losing out on education, are not falling behind in test scores, are not looking at education beyond high school. We got to be looking at what that looks like and how we kind of formulate it. So those are the things that, we should be really kind of instilling. I hope this is a plan when we talk about city council.
Yes.
Because you all are be up there, you have these,
Yes.
you got these properties, and you also
Yes.
got these centers. And then you also got parks, you got.
Yes.
In these neighborhoods. I just think that hopefully be looking at a joint vision between everybody to see
Yes.
how we can go ahead and put together a proposal, get some dollars in to pay some teachers, after school activities.
Right.
Since Ridgeway White want to take away after school activities, we want to be able to fulfill them with our own activities. So
Yeah, we need some track
We need to look for
Yeah.
more state and federal funding.
We need all of that.
Yeah,
And you know what? And so I also, and I keep saying this, and I'll say this to every city council member that come on here, that I think that they should have, when you talk about those youth sports, I think it should be, every ward should have one, and the wards should compete against each other.
Yes.
The big show,
That's
the
what I'm
big
saying.
show, I say it every time. I just want somebody to take it, please, because I keep saying it every
I will get
time.
out there for that.
Can I interfere?
I coached for a long time.
The city of Flint had a lot of mini divisions. We had a church league division where you had like 8 churches that's how all of these churches got all these gyms. Cause all of those pastors was like, we're gonna make a home and away league. But before that vision could come, they all passed, and the people that took their place, we already see. That wasn't their vision.
And I like the idea about having the wards playing because it helps bring some pride back to where you live.
Haskell,
from.
Burston,
Yeah.
Haskell, Burston, Brennan Center, and it was another.
I got to say it, I'm representing for the South Side Brennan Center.
Okay.
We should have the best game at the Brennan. Like all the homies from the Stewart neighborhood, from the 7th block to the number streets, like
The kid,
was our spot, right?
his people that he's talking about that I used to bring over from Burston over there.
To the Brennan.
Man, I took kids from Burston all over the state.
But not only will it bring pride
What
back,
y'all
but
trying
then
to do is have like
that
tournaments
is
in the
teaching
ward.
social skills, right?
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
now
Top 10
you are
out of that
introduced to
ward.
something that you may not have ever seen
Right.
before because they live on the other side of town.
Exactly.
Top 10,
And then,
best
or
get a box.
then you have, and then you take it a little
Let's say
further, and then you
wood.
have an all-star.
That be some
game. So
good work.
now,
Yes.
these all-stars, so you playing with this side of the fence, playing with this side of the fence, and now y'all playing on
And
this
the
side of the
idea
fence.
is, Is
Get a
are
break,
realistic.
I mean, a bottle.
These
It's
not like these things are so like these are realistic things that can be done. You know what I'm saying? But it's nobody really thinks
But
about
that would
those
bring,
type
but
of
those
things.
types of things will bring the city on. You
Yes.
imagine seeing these little
Unity in the
kids
city.
and all of these, you know, and all of these age brackets, right? And then you have these gangs and you bring it, everyone will be paying.
Imagine growing up from like 5, knowing that you've been being supported and being performing for your city from the age of 5. Like, you know what I mean?
By
Like,
your whole city, though. Not just your mom or your grandma, right?
Yes, even when we were playing like Pop Warner and we said FA and traveling teams.
yeah,
You know what? That puts you in a different category.
giving kids something to look forward to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of them, they don't have. It's like, what we doing today, y'all? You know, ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? They be trying to come up with something to do, and you just gonna get them somewhere that they.
But they be on their phone too much.
That's
They not like
phone.
getting physically active out there.
First two.
Because now they just like sitting down, just eating all
Yes.
day. Like you said, on the phone, on the laptop.
Yes.
But like, when we was coming up, we
was
didn't have that type of stuff.
Outside.
We was out there,
That's it.
activated all day long.
Yeah.
Yes.
When mama sent you outside, you had to go find something to do. And it wasn't nothing to do out there, but you had the greatest time of your life out there with some sticks and some rocks.
Yeah.
And those are the things that, when we talk about bringing it back, those are like, we would like to see that. We like to see those initiatives. We like to see, young people being active again, not so, distracted by phone and technology.
Yes.
Just throwing it out there.
Yes.
Not distracted by phones and technology.
Just saying.
Because
That's just taking it, really getting them back to the
Because
basics.
it is the technology. I'll be real with you. It has distracted. You know, and I'll be honest with you. And I blame the parents because I be like, my generation, I came up with the technology, right? But I caught the tail end of being outside all the time because just who my parents were. They're like, no, you get your butt outside. Because I came up with PlayStations and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I came up also in that generation where cell phones started becoming real popular, right? And so when my generation finally got old to start having kids of their own, what's the first thing they do to get their kid off their nerves? Give them a phone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I
Give
got
them
my
a phone.
first cell phone back when I was in, I want to say I was in the 7th grade. I got my first cell phone and I was in the 7th grade and then I was taking it to school. And, at that time it was like fairly new, so they didn't want you to have the phone.
Yeah.
But you're right, I caught that tail end of being outside all the
Yes.
time. And so the phone was new to us.
Yes,
right?
yes.
He had walkie-talkies, but
Yes.
pages and stuff too, right?
Yep,
You know what I'm saying? But you can have it, But when we got the phones, everything switched, right?
Everything. Because you started being able to connect with people without actually having to physically see them. Like you can get on your bike and go see your friend, but now y'all can just connect with them without actually having to physically go see them.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
That riding bike stuff though, putting the
man.
in the back, man, I was all over the street.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Everybody had a motorcycle.
All of that.
It was like, the mind was like really flowing. Like
Yes.
creativity was at an all-time high.
Yes.
We used to jump up to the garage, do backflips. And I don't
Oh my
see none
God,
of
my
that type of
son
stuff
did
going
that
on.
off the house.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
They scared us back in the house.
But I'm just saying.
They scared us back in the house, and then they gave us those phones and all those computers that you talking about. And now we have this. They chase us in the house.
Y'all remember that Black Panther? When that Black,
I know TikTok.
no, before Tick, remember that Black Planet drop?
Oh yeah, I remember Black Planet. I remember Black Planet. Yeah, I remember Black Planet.
I still got my law.
Oh, for the love of
Got my
God.
law.
Black
My law.
Oh, okay.
What's up?
I need Delilah.
Yeah.
Delilah, get your daddy off.
I'm trying to get it. I'm bringing it back.
You bringing it
We
back?
need the creators of Black Planet back, man. Whoever created that platform, we need you back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get that back in 2021.
Rich Jones do a heck of a job, man,
Yeah.
with the basketball, man.
Absolutely.
Man, he had my nephews and just, man, incredible what he do with the basketball, man.
Man, I thought
You know
we
what
was
I'm
going
saying?
to the league back in the day.
And
You know
we
what I'm
need to
saying?
get this, we need to turn this basketball thing into an after-school program. You know what I'm saying, on the real, like, you know what I'm saying? We need to turn it back. And somehow we gotta start getting our youth back here in the Flint schools.
We just need our team clubs back because I deal with a lot of kids
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of kids that I deal with, they ain't built for these programs that they call after school programs, but they will interact in open gym activities. And what I do in my gyms is I specialize in the kids that ain't on the basketball court. I like that person. I like people walk in the gym and see somebody doing 360s, and that's who you need. No, I ain't the one I'm paying attention to. You see that kid up on stage? That's who I'm paying attention. That's why I got this building open, because I'd rather him be up in the stage to where I can sit down and talk to him than he out on that street trying to find something to do. So that's really what's missing is, and then I was arguing with a school board president. Oh, the Broom Center got programs. I said, programs, you see the magic word is programs. And most of these kids that are in these programs don't want to be there. When we had these teen clubs, they was coming to teen clubs because they wanted to be there. And then what I did is I used the same technique that the basketball coaches use. You got to have because what do they call it, where you can take around to your teachers?
Yeah. Oh, like
a progress report.
Yeah.
You don't have to be on a sports team to get a progress report.
Yeah.
And I have to alert the parents that, hey, look, make him give you a progress report every Friday. And if that progress report ain't to your satisfaction, keep him at home. No, better yet, send him to the game Saturday and tell me I won't put him in.
We need band back, y'all.
That too.
Band. Yeah. Yeah, band.
I'm just saying, we need band back.
Yeah.
We need band back. We need choirs back.
Thank you. Instead of twerking classes and all of these dance girls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We need those things back. We need those competitions back. We need those programs back to do all of those.
I agree with what Rich saying about calling it a program, because sometimes the name alone deter kids from wanting to be a part of it, because they feel like they're gonna get labeled a certain way. Or you're part of that program. You know, instead of calling it a program, like you said, call it a teen club, right? You know what I'm saying? It makes it feel more socially acceptable. You know what I'm saying? You know, we gotta be careful how we word things. Like, we don't have to call it an after school program. It could just be called a teen club. You know what I'm saying? They don't have, you know, and how we word things.
I tell you what, let's do that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's an action item now we can easily do, because we do have youth, right?
Yeah.
We got youth in the basketball, we got youth in the media houses doing music, we got youth just in general out here in the neighborhoods and community. Let's make a team club and let them kind of facilitate how they want to go ahead and make that club operate.
Yes.
At least,
and just have one rule: obey your parent and make sure your parent is happy. As long as your parent is signing this permission slip, you can come and be around us. If your parent can't sign the permission slip.
And then too, along with those type of clubs, like, we need to buy in from the parents. So it's not just like you just babysitting, just dropping your dog.
So,
we really need them to be involved in the program.
Well, and that's where you have, but that's where you have, like, even you have that, then you have a booster club.
You have family. What we need to create is we have family nights. We have family nights. We have family events into where we can intervene.
Because then that's how. So the booster club is helping to generate that. So if they focus on this, they don't have to be focused on the fundraising part or the other parts where it could be. And so that a parent has to be involved. And it's not the thing that you have to be involved all the time, right? Or every time they have something, but you all have to volunteer. You have to make that. You have to make that commitment to volunteer. You have to at least volunteer twice a month.
Yeah.
That's easy, right?
Yes. Yep.
It sounds good. It sounds good, but I've been dealing with some of these parents, and
do not come on here with that negativity. Cut it out right now.
I'm gonna agree with you too. But some of these parents need our assistance to help them, because some of these parents is lost.
Right.
Some of these parents can fall in line like you say, but some of these parents, we need to meet on their ground and slowly get in. We just can't jump in and say, you gotta do this for your child to participate. They ain't ready for that. But some of them is, but some of them ain't.
That's not what I said. I said you have the booster club, and when you're in the booster club and your kid is a part of that, at some point when you're getting into that, you have to volunteer in that booster club at least twice a month. That's easy, Rich. That's easy. And the
And
volunteer,
it is,
listen,
but for
listen.
some of these parents.
Listen, hold on. But what you give to the universe is what you give back, right? So if you give in that negativity, that's exactly what you're gonna give back. So that's the wrong outlook that we have looking at the parents to begin with. See that, and that's the problem that I have, because we look at the parents exactly like you said. Well, some of these parents, yes, that's the point. But listen to me, Rich. That's the point, and that's the point of having this, because they don't have any structure, so the children don't have any structure. So if we structure in them, they get structured all the way down the line. That's my point.
Mm-hmm.
So we can't look at it like that. We have to look at them and love on them as well, because we have to teach them how to do that as well, right? That's the whole point of it. Not well, some of these parents, yes, you're absolutely right. However, if we continue to look at them like that, that's exactly how they're gonna act, and that's exactly how they're gonna
Some of this is
continue
about
to do.
breaking that generation.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying you gotta let the parents work their way in.
This is something that we always been about a village.
Right.
We come from that.
Yes, exactly.
Like over the time, in the course of years, we kind of just lost our way.
Yes.
Really just get back to, valuing where we come from, who we are,
Yes.
our areas.
Yep.
The basic stuff.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't want to try to take your brother. You wouldn't want to, try to fight with one another.
Yep.
You try to make it make sense.
Right.
And then when you see these young people out there, you address them with a sense of love and care. Like, that's your kids.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
What's good about it? So,
Right.
but I think that'd be a good thing that we should kind of talk about, maybe offset to be
Yeah.
about that team club.
Yeah. Yes. We need that. And I agree with her about the booster. You know what I'm saying? But we gotta make these kids. We want the kids to know that their parents is behind them too. You know what I'm saying? Kids more likely to. Yeah, the kids want a lot. This is the thing. A lot of kids, that's all they really want. Their kids are food.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That's
Their parents
That's
are
what
food,
see they parents right where they
That's
at.
it. Like, it's terrible for a kid to go to a game and ain't a single person there for them. Like, that's the worst feeling in the
You know
world.
how many times I've been mama at
That's
parents'
what I'm
night for
saying, boy.
17
Yes.
kids.
Yes.
I'm running down the line, I'm running back around,
Yes.
and running back around, and
Yeah.
running back around.
Yeah. A lot of them just want their mom and dad to be a part of what they're doing in their life.
You know what, man? I think we got
Great
some.
conversation.
We got some good content. We really do got some good action items that we can work on.
Yes.
Yes.
Because a part of the show too is like when we have any discussions, hopefully we kind of something resonate with us and say, this is what we can do based off of what we've been talking about. And I think we've been kind of centered around the youth right now. We've been saying like what we can do and something what we can provide for them. So we should really put some action behind those words and say, hey, listen, you know what? Let's put a meeting together. Let's get some youth and let's start establishing what we're talking about.
We got two school buildings right here in the 3rd Ward that I'm interested in finding out what's going on with them. And I'm interested in collaborating with them, because when you talk about schools, you talk about everybody can do something to occupy that building. You're not just talking about a solo project. So I'm quite sure once we find out what's going on with Jefferson School, because I know that the lights is on in there, so whatever repairs need to be done can be repaired. And the same for Carpenter Road School, the lights is still on the Carpenter Road School, so whatever repairs that need to be done can be done. And I'm just, whether I win this election or not, I'm finna get these people woke up and we finna start trying to do something for it, because I walked and I talked to those Carpenter Road people and they want something in that school building. And they didn't like the idea of how they was forcing the charter schools on those kids to get the numbers down at Carpenter Road School. And once they barely got the numbers down, they hurried up and closed the school. I don't appreciate that, and they don't appreciate it. And then normally you would see older folks like they don't want kids and all. These older folks are mad. Like, we moved over here because of the school.
So I tell you what, Brother Ross, why don't you give us some final words and some thoughts as you drive home, so that, especially that 8th Ward residents in that area, because that's an area that, it needs some representation. I think, we've been hearing from a number of different folks that they need some changes. And change is prevalent more than ever now. So, once you talk to us, the 8th Ward, and just kind of leave with a message that we can hang on to.
My message in leaving is just unity, coming together. We got to start loving one another. At the end of the day, we are all Flint residents, regardless of the ward that we live in. We all Flint residents. And when we get up there as city council members and we vote, we got to realize that I represent the 8th ward, but my vote is going to affect somebody in the 1st ward. The way I know it's going to affect somebody in the 1st ward. You know what I'm saying? It's going to affect somebody in the 2nd ward. At the end of the day, we got to want to see all of our wards doing good. If the 8th ward is doing good, but then I look over there at the 3rd ward, and the 3rd ward is struggling, I should be like, you know what? Let me go to whoever that council person is. If it's Rich Young, let me say, hey, what can I do? You know what I'm saying? Is there anything I can use in your ward that I'm implementing in mine that we can use in yours? You know what I'm saying? We got to come together. And unity, I think, for me, is the key to all of this. Unity, come together. It's okay to disagree, right? We can disagree, but we can do it respectfully, but we can still come up with necessary ideas to keep things moving forward. It don't always have to be my idea. It's okay for us to do something, even though it wasn't my idea. Like, if you come up with an idea and it's a good idea, I should want to run with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's right. Too bad it wasn't my idea. You came up with it, but I should want to utilize that. It don't always have to be my idea. You know, so unity, come together. You know, I just want to ask that, we use our voices on August 3rd across the city. You know what I'm saying? That's how we fight, with our voice, voting. You know what I'm saying? That's always been the way that we fight, is with our voice and with voting. And voting is our biggest voice. You know what I'm saying? So I just encourage everybody to come out in numbers. You know what I'm saying? Carpool, go pick them up, ask somebody, you got to wait to the poll. Whatever you got to do to get people to the polls to vote, let's get out on August 3rd and let's vote for change. The change is really on the ballot. You know what I'm saying? Our education is on the ballot. Our health and safety is on the ballot. You know what I'm saying? So I just encourage everybody to get out and vote. And August 3rd, vote for Thomas Ross to represent the 8th Ward of City Council.
I want to cut in for one.
Scott, I definitely want to make sure that, we hone in on the 8th Ward. We try to make sure, the council leadership is in place. So, I give Brother Thomas Ross a look, man. Check him out on Facebook, check him out on Instagram. He's getting a lot of views in the 8th Ward. I told you, some folks reached out and they gave me their number, so they want me to share it with you. So
I appreciate it. Absolutely.
That way. And if you go out there in the 8th and, you need to get some young folks out there, or, knocking on doors and doing an event in that area, I think let's do that.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Yep.
I wanna thank you, because you are the first candidate. Now, Sister Muhammad, she got my back when I went out to try to zero balance people water account. Eric Mays would have been there if I would have told him to come, or been whatever, me and him in communication. But you are the first one that said something like that, because I got kind of upset when I was talking about, I'm like, everybody, including the city council, all y'all got constituents that got problems with their water bill. And I made a call to, man, that's zero balance their water accounts. But because I am a candidate, no one wants to say anything like that. You see what I'm saying? And like I was telling Mick, I would be honest, I would be like, man, I think I'm a better candidate. I think y'all should vote for me. But that right there, we need to get down there and support that. And see, we need more people that don't just want to be heard or seen or dictate. Yeah. We want people that want to see what's going on, listen to people, and then react, instead of always, like some of these people, real talk, they get out their truck, they walk up to the microphone, they say what they got to say, and then they don't stand around and hear what nobody else say.
Yep.
I'm done. With that being said, and just piggybacking over King Thomas up here, cut his mic. It's that music, Oscar music.
We're gonna give it to you right now. We got this track there.
Goodness gracious, no.
Big shout out to Darius.
Wait, before you play music.
Okay.
We just want to make sure that we are supporting this king and his ward. But just to piggyback on his unity, I just want to make sure that we are saying these things. Go out and vote on August 3rd, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Vote.
This Tuesday.
However, Friday, Sister Audrey Muhammad and Claudia Perkins are, the 2nd ward and the 6th ward are coming together for a Pack Your Backpack
I will be there too.
rally, right?
Come on now.
Friday, July 30th, from 12 to 4. Right after that, slide on over to King Jalil's Squash the Beat Before the Grief, right? That's Friday, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m.
I'm beefing with Jalil, though.
Yeah. Man, that's supposed to be man up. That's man up. That's man up. That's man up.
Jalil be taking shots.
Man up, squash the beef.
I ain't squashing the
Man up, squash the beef. This is not squash the beef. It's man up, squash the
I ain't
beef.
squashing the beef, bro.
We got beef with Jalil.
Well, cook it up. We'll cook it
You
up.
want Paul, tell him to get what
Boy,
he
the
needs.
beef ain't over. Ain't over. Just squash the beef.
All
Meet
right.
me at the park.
Yup.
Meet me at the
Meet the
park.
one at the park.
I'll be there with
From 4 to 6. Y'all meet the one. Y'all come see the fisticuffs between Jalil and Dewan, because obviously it's something else going
The
on.
beef ain't over. I got to pop on here in a minute. Right?
He over here.
No,
He
no,
over
no.
here. He talking
He
right
getting
now.
blocked.
Okay.
Hey, one more time, baby. The beef is on, baby.
I'm trying to support other communities, but obviously I can't.
They done just drop man. They done just drop man up. Squash the beef. What happened to man up?
No, we're just mad at Jalil. We're not mad at man.
I'm mad. I'm upset. I'm trying to say like what happened to man up.
So I'm going to get out. Okay, all right.
I've been next out.
After Friday,
my dog.
Saturday.
Jaleel, what happened to man up, man? We still here.
We gotta get out of here, Rick.
We gotta get out of here. Let me finish. Saturday, don't forget to come out at 10 a.m. with Brother Hubert Roberts for the community conversations.
Right.
Yep.
All right. Now y'all can have whatever you
No, we
want.
got
That's this Saturday coming up, right?
I want y'all to know, listen, big shout out to man to our Peace Corps. Big shout out to Brother Pat. You know, he's back there making his album. Which y'all be hearing the song. That's one of the cuts, man. So we definitely appreciate everybody who tuned in, who checked the show out. We have a good time. Big shout out to Brother Thomas Ross. Big shout out, man. And we see y'all in the chopper on Tuesday, man. Black out.